Hi everybody. I've created this video as a supplement to some of the instruction that we've given regarding your project summary assignment based on observations that I've made looking at the project summary assignments. So my intention is that this is going to be helpful for you and your group as you're revising your project summary documents. Some of the topics I'm going to cover in this short video include purpose statements. We're going to be talking about what they are, why they're important, and when you need to use them. We're going to be qualifying the use of the word stakeholders a little bit. We're going to be talking about who are your stakeholders, plural, not just one stakeholder, right? And why is it important to know who your stakeholders are? And then we'll also be discussing using transitions in your writing. A brief side note, we're going to get to some of these topic areas later as we read the chapters in your textbook that cover them. But I feel that it's just very important now while you're revising your project summary for you to have some of this information. So let's move on. Okay, purpose statements. So what are purpose statements? Oops. Purpose statements are direct statements in a sentence or a couple of sentences that explain what the document you are writing is for, or what the reader is reading is for. This is literally a statement that's going to be something like the purpose of the document is for, right? It's a statement that goes in the introduction of your document. So all of you should be including purpose statements in your revisions for your project summary assignments. Okay, so the purpose statement should say directly what the document is for, what will it provide for them, for the audience. So you're answering these questions for the audience, right? You have to think about everything from the perspective of the audience. So do your best to get into the audience's shoes, right? Look from their perspective. When they're encountering the document, the intention isn't that they say, oh, looks like my group has had an assignment for class and they've had to create something and then they've sent it to me. This looks like an assignment, right? Instead, there should be all the material that's needed there. It should be presented professionally, and they should be able to open up the document and read, this is what the document is for, okay? It should be a professional communication to the audience rather than just the fulfillment of an assignment. What are they expected to do with the information? Okay, so not only this is what this information is for in terms of the project goals, but also this is what I need to do with the information. Okay, an example of this kind of statement, the structure that it could be in, would be this document will achieve blank by doing blank for the purpose of blank, right? This document will achieve creating a foundation for our project that includes all stakeholders and roles by clarifying the project overview and giving technologies that might be used in the project for the purpose of establishing the project direction for all involved. Okay, there's a very general example. We're expecting that you're going to be specific about your project details. Okay, this is just a general structure for what that purpose statement might look like. All right, now for stakeholders. I want to mention stakeholders because I think it's important at this stage to differentiate between your key stakeholder, and it's understandable, we've only used the term stakeholder from in the past up to this point to talk about one or possibly a few people, and those are the people who presented the idea for your project. They are definitely your stakeholders, still your stakeholder or stakeholders. They're your key stakeholder, but you also have other stakeholders involved. The word stakeholder means somebody who holds a stake, somebody who has an interest, somebody who is invested, perhaps, in your project, somebody who has a role to play. Okay, who will play a role in project success? Everybody who's going to play a role, they are one of your stakeholders. It's going to be important to communicate with them. You won't be wanting to communicate with all stakeholders in the same way and about the same things. You want to communicate with them about their specific roles and give them the information they need to complete those roles. What do you expect them to do, and what do they need to know? So these are, and the answers to these questions should be included somewhere in your project summary. Okay, and then I've expanded this structure, this hypothetical sort of formula for what that might look like. This document will provide blank for blank so that he, she, or they can do blank. This blank will help achieve the goal of blank. Right? So this communication, this differentiation of project goals will help achieve the larger goal of creating a successful project dynamic. Again, I'm using very general examples, but you get the idea. All right, and finally, transitions. So transitions go right along with the purpose statement, and they continue the work of the purpose statement in serving as road maps or signposts to guide your reader through the information, because in the introduction, your purpose statement is giving an overall what this whole document is about. In each section, you should include something about how that particular section fits into that larger purpose. Okay, so it should remind the reader how the content will achieve that larger purpose. It should be stated what particular people should do with the information. So imagine that you have several stakeholders who are reading this document. By the way, I am a stakeholder as your instructor. Don is also a stakeholder as your instructor. We should be identified. We're going to be reading these documents. Your manager, whoever that is, in that capacity is also a stakeholder. So you want to be sure and directly give information about what each one of these people should be doing. Why should we care about this information, and what should we do with this information? Finally, you need to include a concluding statement of some kind, which could be, for example, a takeaway statement. This is why this information was important. So finally, to conclude, it's really important that you be explicit when you are stating your document's purpose. This is going to create a much more effective communication transaction. Each communication should ultimately be a productive type of transaction, and the purpose should be clear. And the way to make that as clear as possible is to state it directly and clearly. You should anticipate questions that your stakeholders might have and answer those. Establish expectations for roles. This is a good time to do it. That's why we're doing it now at the beginning of the year of your project. Make sure everybody knows what they're expected to do. And then use transitions to guide the reader through the document as well. All right, I hope this information has been helpful for you. I look forward to reading your revisions.